but I am ready. So I'm going to put up the intro and everything if you are.
Yep. I think it's you this week. Is it Mike this week, guys? I don't know. I don't remember.
Yes. Let's say yes.
So.
23 seconds.
Cool.
Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5.
Share screen.
Oh, hey everybody! Welcome to Answer the Call. I thought I don't have to.
You don't. That's true. Never mind.
Yeah. Okay. So that's why I didn't do it. little screw up to start the podcast today, but welcome to the Answer the Call podcast. I'm SaltEMike, joined by my co-host with me, Croncy. This is, if you're new here, this is a Star Citizen podcast. I think you can also, for me, probably hear Star Citizen in the background. So I just turned that down for you. A little scuffed way to start the stream, but this is a Star Citizen podcast, and Star Citizen is scuffed, so it'll work perfectly.
Yeah.
And
on theme.
Yeah, exactly. And what's a little bit different about this podcast, or at least it was unique for the podcast, but now a lot of people do it, is we open up the calls to our Discord, and instead of a podcast being just about what we think, it's also about what you think, and opening up the conversation to you guys, and allowing you to, talk on a stream or a podcast on YouTube where you don't create content maybe. And I think a lot of people feel that content creators have too loud of a voice. This allows your voice to be amplified. And that's kind of the point of the show. So we'll start out talking about, whatever we want to talk about at the start of the show. And then we go on to you guys in the kind of the second half is how we've done it. And this week we got quite a bit to talk about. Flight Blades speculation. Invictus is coming. We had a patch every day this week. Yeah. So how are you doing, Croncy? How you been?
I've been good because I finally have had a couple of days off working. We've been very busy, and so I haven't actually been able to. Hadn't previously, like last few weeks, and when I've been able to play any Star Citizen.
Yeah.
And I got a solid 7 hours in this week. Let's go.
Hey,
So,
you know what?
Hey, that's good.
I was gonna say me too, but I played a lot this week. I'm like
Fair.
annoyed. I'm annoyed that I didn't get to play X4 and Eve this week. And everyone coming in my chat going, "Did you quit X4?" It's like, no. Star Citizen just did a lot of updates in their patches. And if I'm, I have the weekly news video or whatever, and I was like, if I'm gonna find out what those updates are and if they actually worked, I kind of have to play. So and it took almost the whole week to kind of feel out most of it. I didn't even get through all of them. So yeah, quite a bit of things.
Yeah.
What stuck out
in
to
addition,
you? Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, in addition, installed Expedition 33 yesterday. Oh my god, what a game! Insane. I just talked about how I've finally played like 7 hours of Star Citizen this week. Since yesterday, I've played 8 hours of Expedition 33.
Yeah.
So
what's that? Is that the extraction shooter game, or what is that?
No. It's a RPG, turn-based RPG, and it's just. Okay. It's the most Final Fantasy game of like the last 20 years.
Gotcha.
So it's really, really enjoyable. The story's been really enjoyable so far. So yeah, that's been cool to play.
Nice, cool. For me, it's been I started diving into just yesterday for like 20 minutes. PI and Eve. Like I'm starting to go down the rabbit hole of like all the depth that Eve has, right? So that's where I was very much playing on the surface for a while. I'm starting to dive headfirst in now.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, planetary interaction is like, it's the first big deep dive into like real specific mechanics to make like one extra like credit a day.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like the min-maxy kind of stuff that you would be doing. Just kind of making use of like your account or whatever and trying to make as much money as you can. Exactly. Because money actually matters in that game.
Passive income, Mike.
Exactly. Exactly. But yeah, so I played for like 20 minutes because I had so much time.
Yeah.
With Star Citizen stuff. What stuck out to you? That's what I was going to ask you earlier. Because when we do get to the Flight Blade speculation, I will probably start the conversation with a very short Croncy, what do you think about it? Because people have been hearing me
Yeah,
talk about it a lot this week. So
yeah.
if that's it,
uh,
you have the
yeah.
floor on that.
So biggest thing is obviously we got the Invictus like PTU patches,
Yep.
and all the news about Invictus this week. So it's a week and a half away, so it makes sense now that they would start pushing towards it and giving us some information about it. So it was all of that, even just seeing what changes they made to the convention hall this year
Did
and
you have
to the
ships
like Idris display.
in yours? Or are you similar to me where there's like two ships in there and most of the where the ships would be are
Yeah, there was only
missing?
a few. There
Okay,
was only
okay.
a few. So
Thought it
of the two
might have
times
just
I've
been
logged
me.
in, because I believe they did rotate through the halls, but of the two times I logged in, it was presumably the finale day hall.
Yeah.
Um,
Like there's like Miss
so
Mirai and then there's
yeah,
Hornets over here and okay, so yeah, we
yeah,
kept seeing the same one.
yeah. So seeing all of that was cool. I do like they actually made some changes physically to the inside of the convention hall just to make it look like a convention, which is cool, rather than just ships sitting in an open, massive hangar.
Hmm.
Which was kind of dope. The Idris being at the top of IO Tower is the sickest idea they could have had, and feels so dope when you go up there, go into the Idris, and you look from outside. That was an awesome idea.
Yeah.
Absolutely love that.
Yeah.
So
It's also an
yeah,
Idris P. So lots of people
yes,
speculating what that means, right? Is it
yeah,
being an Idris P is the like civilian version of the Idris. So things are um like the missile bay is swapped for a cargo bay,
yep.
and I'm not sure, like, is the railgun at the front different?
Well, there isn't one.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, sorry, that's
Yeah,
what I meant to say. Like, there is no railgun at the front, and
yeah, yep.
yeah, so there's just some minor changes. I mean, I don't think the railgun not being there is very minor, but yeah,
Yeah. In
there's some
terms of like what
changes.
you're looking at, it still just
Yeah,
looks like an Idris. Yeah,
yeah. So I think
but
lots of people
yeah,
speculating because a civilian thing being worked on is like everyone's speculating they are going to sell it, but not just sell it. They are going to bring it into the game as a ship that you can spawn in. Is what people are thinking. I don't know if I believe that yet. I think that they're probably trying to see if they can at some point in
mm,
the near future with a lot of these stress tests. I think there is a stress test very soon today. So
yeah, in a few
yeah,
hours. Yeah, trying to see how many people they can fit on the Idris.
exactly. So they're.
Yep,
I think that's kind of the plan here is to see what they can get away with, but
yep.
I don't know if it's
Well,
going
I
to
mean,
be a
even that
4.1.1 thing at least.
that specific test feels like a very specific Invictus test because you don't
Correct.
need to test more than like 10 people on an Idris in
No,
normal conditions, right?
that's true.
Uh,
And
but
then
if it's like yeah, first day of Invictus, like hundreds of people rushing to the Idris, yeah,
yeah, and then I'll just say this because I've seen it a couple times in the chat. If you're watching on YouTube later on a VOD, I apologize because it probably won't be the case. Star Citizen is seemingly down in some areas or something like that. So if you're coming in chat asking, yes, I couldn't log in this morning. So yeah. And if the chatters can help me out, if new people do come in and ask that question, either mine or Croncy's chat or in YouTube, can you guys just let them know that
mhm.
can you reply to them so we don't have to like stop the podcast every 5 seconds to tell them? Because yeah, it's a podcast, a little bit different than a normal
New
Twitch stream.
podcast discussion,
Yeah.
not working. Just that's it. Just that
Yeah,
title.
so yeah, exactly. No, Star Citizen is not working. But yeah, so I think the other test was like Polaris's, and I think a lot of people speculated that
Yeah,
was a pre-Idris test. I know that is not the case. I know that they're well, maybe it is, but there seem to have been specific Polaris related issues at Hathor when we had first done it. We reported
sure.
those issues to the like player experience guys, and I think
Mhm.
that's why that test came about. It was like specific desync issues with the Polaris itself causing them. So
I
yeah,
also highly reckon that it's got to do with the fact that you're probably going to be able to rent the Polaris during Invictus. So like everyone like it is
good point.
important to do these tests because the last convention we had was before we had
Massive
600-person servers.
and
So
Polaris.
like exactly. I think we actually did have access to the Polaris
We got to look
during
at it.
IAE, didn't we?
No? Wasn't it
I think
always
you're
a
right.
look at
I
the
don't remember if we were able to
visually?
get it out or not.
Yeah, I can't
But
remember.
at the very least, yeah, like having 600 person servers and doing this, you're gonna have to do these tests because there's going to be 8 billion Polarises just hanging around Area 18.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. But outside of that, did you? I mean,
Well, let me talk more on the finale day.
yep,
So I only saw the finale day. I didn't. Once again, I believe that they
same.
were supposed to be rotating through the days. I didn't see that. I only saw the finale day. However, the fact that the finale day was split up into here is the main area, and there is a missing Misk ship, the Starlancer, presumably,
Yeah,
a missing Mariah ship, a missing uh, Grey Cat,
I know what I think
uh,
I know what the Mirai ship is.
and then
Everyone's
the
saying
missing Anvil.
it's the sneak
Yeah,
peek. Like everyone's saying, Missile Guardian.
probably. Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
The platform feels a little small though. I
that's
could
what
be
I thought.
wrong, but the platform did feel a little bit small for it to be a Guardian. But they could like angle it or something. I
Could
don't
be
know, right?
floating over
So
it. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And so like that at the very least, I think proper confirms at least 4 like flyable, drivable vehicles for
Mm-hmm.
the event. And then there may be some more as well. Once again, on the finale day, over in the I think it is the Anvil section, but it's like Anvil and Tumbril. There's you've Ballistae, you've got a couple of Nova Tonks, and then you've got a massive space that's open with 2 Tonks at the front, and then yeah, just like a hole. Cool. All right, so there's your Anvil ship. Obviously, the implication there would be that it's like maybe they've worked with Tumbril, or it's another new
Is it a
like
vehicle?
Ballistae platform or something.
Yeah.
It could be. That's what I'm saying, right? But once again, it's very large, so
You know
it's
what's
kind of
funny
could be all over the place.
is that's the Atlas platform, and then we also have the Atlas. That's why you call
That's
it
why
the
it's the
Atlas.
Atlas platform and the Addles.
Yeah, there you go. Makes sense.
Um,
But
but yeah, so we're gonna be getting a lot this Invictus. I think the estimations was like 6 flyable at Invictus, which is like 2 more than we've gotten ever at Invictus.
I mean, that's no surprise. They're selling like, and they're doing a lot of variants, so
Yeah.
they're able to
Yep.
sell. And
Yep.
I think what we're seeing is people say, you know, the game is good and that's why their funding is up. And it's like, no, man, they've just been selling more shit than they normally do, and that's why their funding is up. It's not, well, it's not no, man. It's a combination
Yeah.
of all of the above, obviously. But that's definitely
I
has a
think I think
factor
it
in it.
also like that on that topic, it also might be a testament to the events that they've been doing possibly as well.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
until this one that's coming up, I've been
Mhm.
obviously very engaged with every single event that they've done. It's been fun.
Yeah.
Um, th-
Yeah.
this one coming up, you said you were doing a lot of ghillie stuff for like ambush
Yeah, I was
missions and
trying
all that.
to was trying to get some just get some Foxwell rep for 2 reasons. One, I wanted to try to get the SMG because I still haven't had a chance to check out the Paradox SMG. I got killed by one player, and then we kept only finding rifles, so I'm very sad about that today.
You went to
Uh,
Hathor and just never found
yeah,
it. That sucks.
yeah.
We could
So,
talk
but that's
about
fine.
that.
That's fine.
We could talk about it a little
Yeah,
bit. That's my highlight
yeah.
from the updates this week.
Mhm.
Is they buffed the Ripper and
Yep.
nerfed the Quartz. The Ripper is the SMG that you got for
Yep.
Fight for Pyro, and the Quartz
Mhm.
is the SMG that is from Volt. Um,
Yep.
it's very cool. So the Quartz is super low range now, and the
Mhm.
Ripper is longer range and does more DPS. But the
Okay.
or the Quartz is still like the highest DPS, but really close
Yep.
range. And the heat and cold has a huge effect on it. So, you know,
Yeah.
SMG from Quartz or from Volt, definitely on cold planets is still pretty strong. But the moment your engagement range is longer than like a short hallway, you got to switch
Mhm.
weapons. So, like P8 and Quartz is probably meta loadout in the future.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. I will say, if even the quartz that killed me today still felt like I didn't feel like I got like screwed over that much because we killed each other and I was shooting back with a Kana, so
How far away were you from each
right on
other?
top of each other.
Okay. Because I was going to say, if he was
Yeah.
a little bit further away, that damage drop off happens. and it happens
Yeah, yeah.
it goes from like full to 0 within 15 meters. So
Okay,
like
interesting.
if you're there, he might
Yeah,
not
no, it
have been
was like
able to.
I for the most part, I think I just got the drop on him. Like he came around the corner,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
was already aiming that way. But like it still felt like fine-ish.
Hmm.
But obviously that's my literal one interaction with the gun. So
Got it. I mean, I love it. It's super fun. I've had the
yeah,
opportunity to go like hot planets, cold planets, and just feel it, and it's like that is such a cool thing. Like you
yeah.
don't you don't get. Hey, I don't play that many other video games. There's a lot of time with Star Citizen, a lot of time playing Star Citizen. Do any other games
Mhm.
do that like hot, cold temperature overheating weapons thing?
I think there's a lot of single player games that have like interactions like that.
Yeah,
But
but
yeah, mostly single player.
multiplayer,
So
yeah. So it's kind of a cool thing. I think it's like a nice little
yeah.
added element, which I like.
Even at
So
the
yeah,
bare minimum, the fact that it just is unique to the rest of the weapons in the game is nice.
cool, cool. People are saying
Yeah.
Tarkov. Tarkov has temperature based things. Is that sure about that?
Anyway,
Yeah.
someone did bring up something, which was another big highlight from patches this week. Bounties are back. Player bounties are back in Star Citizen.
So many people are
Huge.
excited. And yeah, I think it is huge for some. I'm
Hmm.
I just recall these being like every time I took a player bounty, some dude sitting at Grimhex and me not being able to kill them.
Yeah, look, there.
Right? Like
There's certainly still like legacy problems with the system that exist,
yeah.
for sure. Yeah,
Okay.
but
I'm
like,
just
yeah,
like
it's the fact that you can like do Hathor now, and like you now have to be concerned about getting a bounty,
correct. And
right?
somebody will come after you. It happened to me.
Exactly.
I was doing it and I
Yeah.
got killed by uh like I was creeping on somebody I wasn't really, but somebody
Mhm.
else at the cave entrance, and then I got killed there. And it works. I got sent to prison
Yeah.
and everything else. Also,
Yeah.
yeah, the payout increase, it's
Yep.
151,000. So that's worth like going after. It's worth the juice, kind of
Yeah.
worth the squeeze sometimes, even though you might be chasing around a guy quite a bit and might be a pain.
Yep.
But that makes it even so
Yeah.
like it's 75K if you go with a guy in a mantis and you. 75K
Mhm.
each, right? So you can hold them down with the mantis and somebody else can kill them and you're splitting 75K. That feels worth it to me.
Yeah, it's not too
Um
bad.
so yeah.
It's also it doesn't like time will tell, but it also doesn't feel like too high of a number where like you and your friends will farm it, right? Like
Cuz other players.
150k for like, hey, I'll go get a crime stat, you kill me, you get 150k, but then I've got to spend, like minimum 30 minutes to an hour if I'm escaping prison. Is like,
Oh, I
you could
see what
probably
you're
do something
saying.
else,
You're talking about like
right? Like,
exploiting it, yeah.
yeah, yeah. Like I think it is a good number that you won't bother exploiting it, I think, right?
Yeah, yeah. I see in Twitch chat somebody saying, 600 people versus 100 too. First time we have it with 600
Yeah.
people, so there'll be
Yep.
more bounties. It should happen more often, and that other
Hmm.
thing too. That's a very good point that I wasn't even thinking about. I got kind of used to there being 600 players, so when they bring old legacy stuff back, like we haven't had Jumptown
Yeah,
yet,
yeah.
right? What does
Yeah.
Jumptown look like with 600 players versus what we have now? I mean, it looks like
Mhm.
Hathor, I guess, but yeah.
Probably, yeah.
So I don't know. It is exciting, but I never engaged with that content because of the fact that there's armistice zones, and that's
Yeah,
always been
yeah.
like, all right, sure, it's cool. And it'll make content for some other creators. Like first guy I think of is
Mhm.
Burks. Like that's all he ever did. From every time I
Yeah, yeah.
watched him, he was doing them. So people will enjoy it
Yep.
for sure. Just not really for me. I'm
It definitely like I said, it just makes me think twice about like yeah, killing someone on site at Hathor. And that's
yes.
probably the biggest like interaction that I'll have with it. Which is probably good. I don't know, we'll see.
Is Comare gameplay working correctly now? Because then there's that other
I
element, that wrinkle that would have
don't
to
know.
be
I do not know.
turn off the Comare and then you can go ham, kind of
Yeah.
thing. They're saying no in chat, so
Yep. But
unfortunate.
yeah, so that was a big one.
Yep.
Do, I think we leave flight blades to last. So the other thing would be the TAC, I
Yeah. What do
guess.
you think? I don't I did not pay attention to the TAC at CitizenCon. I thought, like, I think we talked about this with
pretty
the
much not me
Starlancer
neither.
previously. I went
Yep.
ugly, don't care, I'm done. Big
Yeah.
freelancer, who cares?
Mhm.
And then once the Max came in the game, I was like, not ugly, like the cargo grid. It is a broken cargo grid, hard to use, but in general, I like the ship a lot. Then I saw
Mhm.
the TAC on ISC, and I was like, okay, I like this.
Yeah.
So
Um.
yeah.
So anytime a ship comes out with some fun turrets, for example, the two twin 5 turrets, I
Hmm.
get pretty excited because I'm a big turret guy. Um, that's pretty much where my excitement about the ship starts and ends. It's yeah. I guess the only other thing really that I could say
Med
about it
bay.
is that the med bay looks
Yeah.
cool, and that's it.
I'm not even I don't care
The
how it
hangar is
looks.
fine.
It's more that it
Yeah,
exists. Like, it's starting to become standard in ships of this size, and
yep,
that's important, I think.
yeah, that's fair.
Because with the way you get injuries really often now, I'm not even talking about like item recovery, none of that stuff really, because we don't really know
Hmm.
what's going to happen with that. I
Yeah,
mean, we do, but it could change, is basically. But what's
hmm,
probably not going to change is the amount of time, how often you get injuries, and or the fact that you will
yeah,
get injuries at least. So them
yeah,
becoming a necessity feels like a thing, and something like a Connie not having them, something like a Corsair not having it, but this having it starts to make this appealing, even though those are better DPS wise for a solo player or something, right?
yeah. Um,
What do you think about this too? I
yeah,
didn't even
that's
realize
fair.
there
I
was
do.
a bay in the ship because I did not pay.
Yeah,
I was asleep at this part.
I had missed that, and I do enjoy that it's got a bay as well as like I like parasitic craft with like any of these types of ships. What I will say is the fact that this does have a bay, I think they've essentially more or less shut down the idea of wanting what they've got with the Connie because it just causes too many problems, and just from here on out they're just going to continue to go for just hangers, right?
How
Um, yeah,
how many minutes has docking worked in Star Citizen over the last
yeah,
10 years?
exactly, right. Yeah. So I think this is further speaking towards like we've talked about it before, where it's been like they've seen how people play the game. They also see how easy the game works in some ways, and just keep copying that. So I think
Yeah,
we'll see more. Like I doubt we'll see parasitic craft in the same way as before. I have disappeared.
really. I must have minimized you again. I'm trying to
There we go.
bring up because somebody said with refueling in chat. There's no refueling in the ship. There's a Reddit post from the murderer. Where is he? This guy on Reddit that
Hmm.
said we just put the art in there if they ever make the feature, but no promises though.
Right.
So I don't get your hopes up. Like with most things,
Yeah.
that'll be the theme of today's episode. Don't get your hopes up. But yeah,
so yeah,
I like it.
it's
It's a
cool.
ship.
Yep. Not my
It
style necessarily, in terms of like bigger gunships. I certainly lean more towards, Retaliator, Hammerhead, like dedicated guns sort of thing.
yeah
This
yeah.
yeah, but yeah,
Oh, this is interesting though. This is probably the more unique thing to it. I paused it and I'll leave
right.
it there. On the back, these missiles that can shoot at somebody who's behind you, but they also made it sound
Yep.
like maybe you could shoot them at personnel too because they're pretty tiny. So
Don't fire them at personnel.
maybe, yeah, like if somebody's trying to board your ship, you could just launch them at them. That's kind of cool, I think. But
I
and a
imagine you'd
unique
have
thing
to
to the ship.
I imagine you'd have to like remote turret into them to shoot them backwards
Yes,
or
that's
something.
these are 100% remote turrets.
Okay, right.
Yeah,
That makes
no
sense.
doubt in my mind that they are. So
Right.
kind of cool. I think it was just like a unique, goofy little thing that they were doing, and
Yeah. Yeah.
it might be interesting. We'll see. But outside of that,
Yep.
it's just another ship. It's just another ship that shoots
Yeah.
guns and missiles. So you have like a million of them to choose from, and now it's just coming down to like, oh, I'm able to put my other thing that I also own inside this, and that's
Yeah.
starting to be the decision making on these things, which is odd, but
Yep.
it's nice. I think it's kind of a
It's
good thing.
also like the reason that they showed that as the first ship from Invictus is because it's going to be the essentially the least interesting because it's just a variant. Yeah.
Yeah. From what we keep hearing, I assume, is there'll be newer stuff that we'll probably hear about next week, right? So
Yep.
this was this week's ISC or behind the ships. We're gonna have another one next week. So it's gonna be all ships.
Do we know? Yeah, I was gonna say, do we know if it's gonna be behind the ships next week?
I think so. I think at the beginning of this one it said like part 1 or something.
Interesting.
Or somewhere behind the ships. Just says Starlancer TAC, but they got it. They're gonna do more. Come on, they have no They don't make videos unless it is the event that they're trying to sell you on or the ships they're trying to sell you on. There's going to be,
which notably as well, this was only a 4-minute video.
Yep. Yeah, the ships are they just pull the segments out of if it was in an ISC.
Yeah.
Right. So a lot of the ship ones have been very short, and because how much can they say?
That's fair. Yeah. That's fair.
I don't know. What else?
A little bit on that still before we go to the ship things. Is on the Invictus page. There was a little bit of a sneak peek, which they have like a bit of a portion of the video of the
why are you
I think it's the
disappearing?
Polaris coming in or the Idris coming in. And you can sort of see just out of the corner of your eye, you can see like a little bit of an engine or like a little bit of a tail of a ship.
Yeah, and it looks like a Guardian.
It's actually complete speculation what people think. Some people have been saying Guardian. I think it looks way too different to the Guardian engines.
Right there? That one? That's definitely Guardian.
No, it's off to the right.
Yeah, both are on the right. I think you are talking about this, right?
Right there. Yeah.
And then the Guardian's actually in front of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, see it?
Yeah, that looks like a Guardian engine.
So when you hear people saying Guardian, you guys are looking at 2 different ships is what's happening.
Yeah, 2 different ships.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That second one for sure. But that other one
looks like a Valkyrie platform is what people are saying.
Sort of. That's what I thought for the longest time, but then like the displays at the convention center are a bit too small to be a Valkyrie, it looks like. The most unhinged take, in my opinion, that I heard was that it is the hacking ship that I can't remember, the Legionnaire. Which
somebody just
I just think no shot.
In Twitch chat, Chris G, and not in Twitch chat, Precision07 and Chris G in YouTube chat. Croncy just called you delusional.
I didn't call them delusional, but I should. No, I think like they were very explicit last year that the Legionnaire got like postponed and like they had no intentions for it in the near future.
Yeah.
So I don't think it'll be the Legionnaire. I wouldn't be surprised if they've used the assets that they did make for the Legionnaire to make like another variant of it or something.
100%. They are in like Ford Model T production mode. Like that. Yeah. There's going to be very little like bespoke brand ass new stuff. They are just going to sell this year. It seems very clear.
Yeah. But yeah, so
also, there's a timer on the screen, right? This kind of tells you 1 week until this patch goes live. And then it'll sit there without the convention center most likely for a day or so, and then you have the convention center. I think that's pretty obvious that's what's going to happen. But
yeah, which historically, this is actually really good. Normally, these Invictus and IAE patches come out days before the event. Usually the final like big like they do the full run of show the weekend before the event on PTU. So the fact that happened, this weekend, is a good sign. We hope that they can fix all the bugs. But once again, this is the first time they've done that with 600-person servers.
Yep.
So it could be a whole new beast.
Yeah, I mean, I think they'll find out what they need to know today, hopefully. But again, PTU. At this stage, people get burned out, don't want to play it anymore. It's a random Sunday. There's Formula One race, which I care about. Oh, yeah. Twitch chat keeps mentioning this. That people are starting to see 720 player servers as well, not just the 600. So they're keeping. I love to see that. The creeping up towards 1,000 is going to be something I wanted to see over the year. I think that's one of the things that we discussed at our our end of year, start of year podcasts of like what did
Yep.
we want, what did we expect. Dude, I think we should go back and watch those and see and do a kind of like midway next month
Yeah.
of like,
How have we gone so far?
yeah, what's the progress report?
Yeah, I like
Oof.
that. In addition to what you're saying as well, though, they also have been messing with the DGS a lot, which I've been liking seeing. So I think it's 7-3 at the moment. 7 in
Again,
Stanton
yeah.
is my understanding.
Mm-hmm.
Which good. You need those extra servers there, presumably to handle the load that you're about to expect. So I'm always glad that they've got it, on their mind. Like this makes me think, hey, they're not stupid, and they will recognize that they need that extra load there for these events.
Yeah, true. And they still, Hathor didn't really work in 4.1. So this being the .1, I think it's still also related to needing a dedicated server on both Aberdeen and Daymar for those, because I think that they still do expect people to try and do it once they're hopefully bug fixed, because even in Friday's patch, it was either Thursday or Friday, mentioned the same bug again. Like if you pull the key before you press the button, everything fails. So
Yep.
Yikes.
And not to mention, like, there's other new reasons to go there now too. Like, there's all the new Parallax skins as well.
Yeah.
I was able to get myself the orange one today that looked very cool.
Yeah, it
so
looks
people
sick.
are gonna want to go there.
Oh hell yeah, for sure. There's that black P8AR as well. So there's just a bunch of things. One thing that has not worked for me, and I wish I could show you video of it, is the entire cycle of these patches. They've been talking about Valakar Fang. Wicklow needs Valakar Fang, Valakar Fang, Valakar Fang. Up until a couple days ago, the Valakar never came out of the ground. And now they come out of the ground and they're invincible.
Yeah, I noticed that today. We did one, like we activated one of the Hathor things, and the Valakar were spawning, but they were just shooting us and not getting hit.
It's not even like they take so much damage; they have so much health. Like I have fired
they're just not taking
missiles at them; they're just not taking damage at all. So
yeah,
it's quite unfortunate, sadly, with that. So hopefully they get that one nailed down, and we'll see. Because that again, you will be locked out of doing quite a bit of Wicklow stuff if they don't allow you.
Yeah,
I have been on the hunt like every day for this thing because I just want to see the tooltip. I'm a sucker for crafting, obviously, right? So I'm looking at, does the tooltip say what this fang is used for in crafting? Like I looked for it with the eggs, I looked for it with the horns. I love that stuff, so that's why I'm all about it. On my list of things, I don't know if I have anything else super exciting.
Another new loading screen. Very quickly one though, just continuing with what they've done the last few patches of just putting the lore, giving us the lore more directly as we load in, which is good. And they're continuing that initiative, cool. But this one didn't have much information in it except for Invictus is about to happen, and then like, hey, this crisis is still ongoing. Hey, the freedom fighters are still a problem, and that was kind of it.
Yeah. It was basically just. But is this what we transition to for Flight Blades? I think we have to now. I think it's a copy and paste of what's in your journal. Everything on that screen, by the way, and it's just I forgot what the Oxford comma is, but that was very important for this. Is they didn't use it, and I think it's what got people confused. In the write-up there, it just basically says, you can go to Invictus and you can check out or rent or try, I forgot what it was, like ships, turrets, and flight blades. And it was like ships, comma, turrets, comma.
So people thought it was like turret blades and flat blades.
Yeah, so they put the two words together, and I think I was like, guys, this is very obviously not AI turrets, right?
That's my first reaction was that it's not AI turrets.
Yeah, why would it be? And I thought it was even less than what we're getting. I'm going to try and bring up the thing. Basically, every time right now, for some reason with Discord, every time I bring up a like a page, you're disappearing and I have to bring you back up, and it's not making any sense. So it did work this time.
I don't need to be on the podcast. I'll leave.
This is what Niku said about him. So
yeah, so this is a big update. So with the latest P2 update, you may have spotted a new loading screen mentioning flight blades. Coming with Invictus, this new component will let you fine-tune your ship's flight characteristics. We'll be sharing full details in an upcoming dedicated Spectrum thread. Stay tuned.
What about an ISC?
So this kind of came out of nowhere. Actually, yeah, this on an ISC, this feels like it would be much better. Yeah, do a little description of what it is.
Yep.
Which they could maybe, but like, yeah. I mean, were you expecting this even remotely? I don't know anyone who was.
My only expectations were, we are physicalizing a component that can be damaged, which could, make your flight, your IFCS turn off or something like that. That's what I assumed it was IFCS. It still does sound like it is IFCS, but you're going to be able to use this to make a faster in a straight line Gladius that's less agile, or a goes a little bit slower, but maybe it lowers your IR signature. Like it sounds like you might have options there for what you're trying to do. But again, this is pure speculation. Yeah, I see some other things that would be really nice to put this in, and then it automatically, every time you start your ship, like G-safe is off, proximity is like certain, what would they be called? Like levers that you have with your ships, that the desired levers for you would be turned off. Like they might talk to some of their dedicated racers that are really quality racers or whatever, and those guys would have their default that every time they reload their ship, like in Arena Commander or whatever, they have to press all the buttons to do it. Yeah, like presets, I think, is how I look at it, because unless they are getting away from crafting completely, not completely, but having it be so significant how they portrayed it at CitizenCon, then I don't see this being like, I don't know, like super impactful on what they had said at not at CitizenCon, but when they had sat down with Jared, Rich Tyrer, and I forgot who else, about like, so if you really want your Gladius to fly super fast and be super agile, it can. You do that through crafting. Remember that conversation? I assume that's still the case. So this is probably something different, or this could be a part of how you do it for crafting. So
yeah. I was gonna say this could be in conjunction with. It wouldn't necessarily have to be like a replacement, right? My like thought process would be like, so I see it very similar in like, this is gonna likely modify, like maybe weird things with your acceleration, your turn rate, your whatever. Like once again, your flight characteristics of each ship. What I'm kind of hoping is the case here is that first off, we get more than one component, because otherwise, what's the point? And that they are lootable components that can increase the characteristics of your ship. We saw with the tweaker and the other attachments that I can't think of, actually having like modified versions of these attachments that changed. Torch, thank you. That changed the characteristics of the gun quite drastically. Having that on a ship would be cool. That's a cool mechanic. Now, is this cart before the horse? Probably.
That's why I assumed it was just physicalizing it. Like,
and it might be
taking a small, because it was nothing that was in a patch note anywhere. So to me, it just sounded like, guys, if they were putting AI ships, like guys flying in your AI, like AI guys flying in your turrets, that would be in the patch notes. They would be trying to gather feedback. Like this, this sounds like such an inconsequential
that would not be
thing.
2 weeks before Invictus.
Exactly. Exactly. Like this sounds like a very inconsequential thing that is leading up towards a future 1.0 type. Like they have to get everything on the 1.0 checklist has to be checked off, right? And some of the things on that checklist are incredibly small, like physicalizing a flight blade in your ship. You know what I mean? Like that's just how I looked at it. And I think people are always like, Star Citizen's going to be the greatest thing ever. So every feature has to be what I have in my mind as like the end game of it. And it's never, ever been that. It's literally always been the opposite. And I've just tried to communicate that through my videos, and of course everybody gets mad. So I just give up at this. Well, I'm not giving up. I'm just going to keep sharing my opinion.
Yeah.
I give up giving a shit what any of you guys think about my opinion. Is what it comes down to. So you guys keep coping and thinking it's always going to be the biggest, grandest thing, and CIG will keep making tier 0 stuff because that's what they've done the entire time and never stopped doing. Like, what the hell, guys?
Yeah. But yeah, so I hope for a little bit more than just a physicalization even for this, but like not
Well, it looks
too
like it is.
aggressive, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the thing is like if it is similar to just like the tweaker components where it literally just here is a percentage bonus, here is a percentage minus to whatever that you put it into. That is a thing that they could do theoretically right now, I imagine. So that's my speculation about what this is, and I think it would be realistic for them
It
to
would be
do
great. Imagine like base
it could
Gladius.
be great. It could be terrible, balance wise for a little bit.
Sure.
But as a mechanic, I like it.
Yeah, I love the idea of like your. I'm trying to think of like a whole sea or like anywhere, just the base ship being kind of like, but the ability to be like, I really, this tune. But what I hope it comes with, no matter what, is whatever you gain, you're losing something else in return, right?
Yes,
so that's what I hope that we get. Is you're making choice that has consequence.
Yeah, my biggest hope for it would be for the racing scene. Like you have certain tracks where you would prefer a like a faster straight or a better turning and whatnot.
Exactly.
And being able to use the exact same ship but mess around with the literal tuning of it would be very, very cool. Even
it
if
would
it's
be
very simple. So
exactly. It would be like Monza in Formula One versus Monaco. Like they'll put in Monaco, they're driving really slow, so downforce is the most important thing, and they set up the car for that. But then pure speed in Monza, I think Monza's a pure speed one, and that would be nice. Like that would be so cool for racing, right? Is there's some tracks that are really windy, and you're gonna want to have that agility, right, instead of the top speed to be faster in the turns on those. That would be so cool to see. And but yeah, also with PvP, be really, really neat.
Yeah, exactly. And especially if it's like the case of like you always when you're balancing really anything, but especially PvP, you want there to be this whole thing of like if two players have the exact same ship, like the player skill can go through. But you also want there to be a little bit of wiggle room. And a lot of that is in that like 5 to 10% range. Where if like someone has a 5 to 10% better ship than you, you still can get them, right? This could do exactly that.
Yeah, it's starting to make me, I don't know. I keep debating about this in my mind of should scanning another ship like within a certain range, should I be able to know what is on their like what their loadout is very quickly or easily? So then you know how to counter.
There should be a way to do that, yeah. But maybe you've got to build for that, right? Maybe you've got to have
a certain radar or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like if you want to know for a fact that you can beat the opponent because of, whatever they've got equipped, then you need to sacrifice something in order to know that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, and apparently this is something that they talked about like years ago, and I have zero recollection of this. None. Like this is not a new thing.
They've probably talked about a billion things years ago, right? Like eventually any feature, any mechanic in this game, they would have talked about at some point.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. I mean, let's go back to the 10 for the chairman. Can we have this? Yes. So
sure, why not?
Sure, why not? That's literally what it was. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. But that's all I really have on the Flightblade stuff. It was like just don't get your hopes up too much, guys. It's probably not something that major, and it actually, based on the description, it is exceeding those expectations that I had. And I'm looking forward to hearing more about it. Again, I wish it was an ISC. I don't understand why. Maybe. Let me ask you this. Would you care if Jared got in front of the camera and just explained what these blades were and over B-roll? like a community manager would in any other game. Like this obsession with having the developer do it is nice.
I don't think
but if
that's
you can't,
very different to a Spectrum post necessarily.
yeah, but you have the
You
video to
know?
go along with it, maybe.
Maybe, but I don't think that's enough of a difference to
That's
warrant the video, if that makes sense.
it's fair.
Um, but that
I
doesn't
just
mean I don't want to
consume.
see it. It's just that example I don't want to see necessarily as much. Like I would like to hear from the devs who made the mechanic, you know, what the deal is with it and what the plans are for it in the future
Yeah,
in a video, especially because usually when they do like a Spectrum post will be very mechanical about this is what it is and this is what it does the end.
yeah.
They talk a lot more about like, well, why did we choose this and what do we think it'll do later. They do that a lot more in the like a bit more candid videos. That is what I want to see.
Yeah, for sure. And might as well save it for that, I guess. Is their thought process there?
Maybe, and we could still see it. It's also likely that while they're not doing as much video content this year, I imagine a lot of it has been planned ahead. We probably won't hear anything other than Invictus for the next 3 weeks, and then after that, maybe we'll get to this stuff.
Yeah, and by the way, the guy who made this post replied on my my video for it. Apparently this is from Todd Pappy, which is a little tough. This was in 2020 because he's not there, so there's a lot has changed of what Todd Pappy wanted, but these were literally some things that have been discussed or are being thought for. This was a copy and paste from what he had said. So like missile defense system, encryption blade data runner, missions controller, E-war, defensive E-war, mining, salvage, criminal database, hit list, enhanced route navigation, trade and exploration, trade database.
Yeah, so they wanted blades to be a part of pretty much every
aspect of the game.
pretty much.
Yeah.
Anything that is ship related, yeah.
Yeah. And there's some ships, by the way, like you open your mobiGlass, some of them have 2, some of them have 1.
Yep.
So this, now that I read this, and he told me to read it in the comment, and I forgot to, and I'm glad I'm looking back at it now. If this is their plan, it's not just flight tuning. It's like specializing your ship a little bit, which is very cool. So,
yeah.
But again, most of those things sound like they're not on the table. So at the moment, so it's kind of like, all right, well, what are these in 4.2 or 4.1.1 if these are actually happening? It's not any of this shit. Drone management blade for larger ships. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, 4.1.1. Let's go.
Sure, buddy. Yeah, that's happening. So yeah, I don't know. It's,
you know what it kind of sounds like to me? Bringing up Eve again. It kind of sounds like rigs almost.
Yeah, it does.
Just like, yeah. But yeah, we'll see. I am genuinely curious what
we had to bring it
up. Speculations are for flat blades, because that'll then tide me over until they actually talk about them, presumably later this week. It just says Spectrum Pro's coming soon.
Yeah, so their timelines are, he would probably say next week if it was next week. I wouldn't expect it next week.
Yeah.
But I will be looking forward to hearing about it at some point. Because
what if we don't even hear about it before Invictus? What if it's literally just like a, and this might be the case.
Yeah, I think it would definitely be the case.
It's just like here is a thing that you can't use. But like, maybe it's coming soon.
Yeah, I mean, here's the other thing. The display that they have at Invictus, which also got a lot of people excited, is in Microtech right now. Like, it's been there for the entire time, sitting at Microtech. So it's not.
I thought the one at Microtech was the
Well, there's more than
the hacking.
There's more than just that. There's a number of things there, and there was one of them. They just literally added it there. The big thing that people are holding on to, and I think that they're right to, is that when you go to your mobiGlass ship changing thing, is that there's an option to change them. So it sounds like they're prepping for these to come, and but I wouldn't be surprised if it is a next patch thing. So if we hear about it, we'll probably hear about it after Invictus, because they want us to just, guys, focus on what's important, and that's opening up your credit card, Opening up your wallet, swiping your credit card, and buying spaceships. I think that's all they want us to focus on for the moment.
Too
So yeah.
true. Too true.
So yeah, buy spaceships. Don't worry about how they work because that's gonna upset you. Just keep imagining in your mind that this is the ship for you. I think that's what they want to do for right now. But yeah, that was the flight blades. I have nothing else on my plate as far as what I want to talk about, so we can probably go to callers.
Yeah, let's do it. If you want to call, make sure you go into if you're on Mark's channel, exclamation mark, I think it's podcast, and you follow the link. If you are on YouTube, it's in the description below. If you're on my channel, tough luck. Go to Mark's channel and type in exclamation mark podcast because I don't have a thing set up for it. Go into the green room and we can get you in, but I think we already have a full room at the moment.
Yeah, we do.
So next time come in and pop in. But hello, Miles. How we doing?
Hello. How are
Hello.
you guys? I'm doing good.
Good.
Lovely.
Ignoring my final project for this at the moment, but
Nice.
So correct priorities. Love it.
Yes. With the flight blades,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's interesting. I'm hoping when they do function, I don't know if they will this patch, probably not, but that it will give some specializations getting that way. One thing I think would be cool for a feature with them is that your ship's HUDs are tied to them, and if it gets damaged, you lose your HUD, so you have to fly blind. I think would be a neat.
Oh, as in like the physical component gets damaged, now you lose your HUD, is what you're saying? Yeah, that'd be cool. I'd like that. Yeah. Well, I wouldn't like that, but I think that would be a cool mechanic.
Yeah, I think it'd lead to some interesting things, especially because it seems like they can be easily swapped on ships with interiors. So you could have somebody like swap it out if you have a replacement on hand.
Yeah.
In regards to the knowing what people's components are, I definitely think that should be tied to specific scanners.
I mean, we can see them now, just to be clear. Everyone can see what everybody has right now, but it obviously you're putting yourself at a disadvantage of not having your guns on because you're in that different mode.
And also spending the time to do the scan as well.
Which there needs to be a little more feedback because I can never tell at the moment. They did whatever because it was receptive. It was they'd make like a noise and something when it was scanning, but now it doesn't do that at the moment. So
sometimes it's nice to not have info and you have to figure it out too based on like how fast they're flying, the color of their lasers. So that's sort of why I put that out there. I was curious how many people wanted all the information kind of easily, and then you being able to like play the leveling game of I know what you know and you know what I know, so I'm going to do this. Or do you want it to be more of like a mystery, and then you have to uncover that mystery of the NPC or the player that you're fighting to try to figure out how to counter them.
And I think that gives kind of purpose to like scout ships. Like that's kind of like the purpose of the Terrapin proper, isn't it? To like kind of
or a stealth ship.
Go dark, to go dark, scan the enemies, get numbers and what they're running, and then bring it back. So it gives purposes to those sort of scout roles.
Yeah.
Go back versus like the Carrack, which has like its big exploration scanner, which probably wouldn't be able to do that. It'd be.
I'm seeing a Twitch chat message that
probably
says,
try,
let the co-pilot.
Not as effective.
Years away,
In multi-crew ships, it would be nice to have the co-pilot do it, and then that information is displayed to everybody or whatever. So the co-pilot's doing something of value.
It would be nice for the co-pilot to do anything.
It's true. It's very like classic sci-fi as well, right? Like literal like Star Trek classic sci-fi of like, we're engaged in this battle. Hey, Billy on the scanner. Oh, they've started charging up their main weapon, right? All that sort of stuff.
Or they're using a shield blade. They're using a shield blade. Use
exactly.
ballistic weapons
it's very,
or whatever the counter
very
might
appropriate for the trope, so it would be cool to see that.
And we've already seen it in Star Citizen with the squadron opening. They see the Vandal Kingship charging up the primary.
Yeah. Although, to be fair, you can see it.
Well, yeah.
Like, they've activated the giant light on the ship.
Gary Oldman
charging the laser.
Gary Oldman just turns, no fucking shit. But, overall, I'm hopeful that it will give good diversity to like the same ships feeling different. Letting people sort of customize more.
Giving you, dare we say, choices. Which
Yeah.
I do have to point out, I like choices and I like having more extra variety. I am always concerned when we get more choices because it does mean you're going to
Balance nightmare.
guaranteed have have an absolute balance nightmare. It's not even that like meta. It's just like I've talked before about like you can have metas. Metas are
Yeah.
fine, but it needs to be in a spot where like other things are at least like enjoyable and playable. So like you can have a 100% best ship as long as the next ship is at least 90% good as that one. You know,
Oh, best ship can
and
be the
that
best
never
one that
happens in
comes
Star
out.
Citizen.
No, it's always
Yeah.
significantly better, right?
So
Yeah, I definitely get that. We don't want in terms of Overwatch, we don't want the goats meta for anybody who knows that.
oh,
Because
man,
that just stopped everything.
yeah.
Side thing for Invictus. The Invictus convention security don't want you to know this, but the mannequins with the UE uniforms are free to take, and you can take the uniforms off them if you get your shit.
I can get it from the mannequins. So I did.
Yeah.
There's someone in my community has apparently spent the last 24 hours on the one server. Well, not the last 24 hours, but like at the exact same time, 2 days apart, on the Idris in the full UEE garb, role playing. Like,
I
sup
love
guys,
that.
welcome in, salute. But that is a sick outfit. I do want it.
Yeah, you just apparently can take the mannequins on display, and if you get them to your ship, you can take the uniforms off them.
Lovely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Definitely intentional.
Video content is rough. I wouldn't mind Jared explaining stuff to me if they can't get the devs. It means I don't have to read, but
Yeah,
Like
like
for
for me
some
is
things, sure.
yeah.
it's
I
like
guess
if
it
you can't
depends.
get the devs, like you might as well get something then, right?
Yeah,
Hmm.
it
But
would
I don't
give
know.
Jared something consistent at least, because they could do both. They could have the Spectre post and then Jared summarizing. Because it keeps that sort of engagement of people who aren't on Spectrum
Yeah, that's
in the
my kind
know.
of point of view is like a lot of people get the news from Star Citizen via different
Yeah,
mediums. And,
Yeah.
YouTube being one, I don't think it's a very small one. Like those videos typically are around
Yeah. It's
100,000
certainly the
views, right?
biggest one,
yeah.
honestly. Yeah.
I would say it's where most people get. I would say yeah. For majority of people, it would just be the main channel, not like obviously
Mm.
content creators will summarize Spectrum posts and that sort of stuff, but I would say majority of people aren't that deep in, and they just see it pop up in their feed from the main
Absolutely.
channel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Get it? Uh, my last point, just to bring up, is for Invictus next year and kind
Mhm.
of Squadron releasing GTA 6 delayed to May 2026.
Yeah.
Wondering how that will impact the release of Squadron, because May 2026 was sort of where I'm like, that's probably where they want to aim for, but not anymore. That's for certain.
Yeah, so we didn't talk about it much. I do think it impacts it quite a bit, but like
Yeah.
it was already expected that GTA was going to get pushed back to next year. It was just a question of like where next year,
Yep.
and it does matter. You can talk about
Yeah.
how the audiences are very different and stuff. They aren't because GTA is trying to shotgun hit every single person in the world
G.
and trying to get every video game cares about the release of GTA 6. I don't care
Yep.
what
Yes.
you are. Farming Sim
Every
2026 cares about the release date of GTA 6.
That's true.
yes.
I was still sort of in the thing of like I think it'll be a holiday 2026, like Christmas 2026 for Squadron, and I'm still kind of there.
Yep.
In regards to GTA being pushed, I think that still works. You are disconnected enough from that like big
Yep.
bulky release that like you might be able to ignore all that stuff. But we also just have not heard anything about Squadron for 6 months,
Yep.
really. So yeah,
Just a big question mark. But
Big question
we'll
mark.
see.
Yeah.
Maybe they're just more confident and they'll move it to holiday 2025.
dear God,
But yeah.
I would be concerned if they pushed Squadron forward. I I would almost immediately assume it's going to be an absolute dumpster fire on release.
Yeah. Because you're just trying to get some money out of it or something, right? At that point,
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
just trying to avoid losing money.
Yeah. If
I
we
don't know.
knew the specific date, I'd say it'd be different. But since we don't, it's definitely
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a little bit of an odd situation. I don't know how this is all going to play out, but for me, Croncy is 100% right. Like it will always matter.
Yeah, it is going to matter for every single game release next year.
It's
not
just
even
a big
just
release.
games. Every industry's gonna feel it because everybody's gonna. So many people are gonna take off in mass. So
yeah, I was gonna say the economy is gonna crash the day of release.
It just
well,
matters.
that's already happening, but for some of us. So, but that's all I got. So I'll leave it to the rest. Good
All right.
talking to you guys again.
All right, Pepe.
Yeah, appreciate it as always.
Be good. Be good. Appreciate you.
Thanks very much, man. Catch up.
Bye now. Oh, I sent him off a little early, but that's okay. Dirty K is welcome. You are muted, so make sure you unmute if you can hear us. Dirty K is going once. It wouldn't be a podcast.
Yes.
Hello.
There he is.
Howdy.
Hello.
We hear you. We hear you.
Excellent. Oh, well, good morning, gentlemen.
Good
Long-time
morning.
listener. Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Nice.
Hate you, Mike. Hate your show.
Yeah, I figured.
Okay.
Most people
but for
do.
a long time, it's a love-hate relationship that runs deep. So.
Okay.
So what?
Are you here to talk about that, or are you here to talk about the game?
Nope.
Just, so anyway, here are my top 20 criticisms of your...
I'm just setting myself up here for my format here. So what I love, my Starship love-hate relationship, much like your show. I love the epic scale of the game, the open universe, the beauty, the wonder. It's my space life. You know, just it's just simply amazing. You know, it's like that box of chocolates. You never know when you're gonna die in an elevator. But hey, you keep coming back for more. Yesterday, I was on, for like a 5-hour session. I only had one server error. It stalled for a few minutes. Return, recovered, no loss, carry on. And it's just moments like that. I was like, hey, these are just little reminders, to me and to other, complainers to, shut the hell up and remember the bad old days of devastating loss of a 30K where you just, lose everything all the time, every time. And now we're creeping, it seems, past that. So again, this is still stuff I love. The Hathor mission showed up. The mission was, broke. All the NPCs were dead. They wouldn't respawn. But I was still able to enjoy my time. I was able to, loot scoot, the booty. A Polaris assault team shows up to start the laser. I'm sniping them with a rail gun. I'm hanging up in the rafters with with my sniper. Disrupting their play. I didn't plan for any of that. I just went there to take the stupid mission, and then now it's just all this, as they love to call it, emergent gameplay just unfolds, and I'm just wreaking havoc. And I'm not even that kind of a player typically, but it was just their opportunity, and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna, mess with these guys, and obviously, of course, they find me, they kill me. I'm not that great, but I respawn in my C8R under the station, come back in, and mess with them some more, until they figure that out. But
to talk on just interaction at the moment that I have actually been really enjoying, the fact that we do now have missions at all of these what are they, PAFs and OLAs?
OLP.
Oh yeah, OLPs. Has made a lot of interactions like that happen recently. So even in the small amount of time I've been able to play in the last few weeks, being able to go, oh, I just want to, some quick mercenary missions. I'm just looking for parallax rifles, whatever. And then in the middle of being like, ooh, there's a battery that's been left there. Or there's a couple of key cards that have been left here or whatever from previous encounters. Has made that whole gameplay loop a lot more interesting to me.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, at first I was like, are you kidding me? Freaking broken missions, Elliot. Do they ever work? And then, didn't need the mission, had a great time, and, again, never knew and so often it's the gameplay is just you rarely ever get what you intended to get when you got on there or expected. And there's good and bad to that, but sometimes it's good. So that's the love side. Obviously the hate side here is the so many times you can't complete simple missions, like this Hathor mission, or even a delivery mission or whatever. Just bug broke, ruins progression. It seemed like there was something good. They were kind of making some headway with with the reputation system, and then that got backburnered. And but I'm encouraged by this script bit here, because I think there's a lot they can do with that, with the council script and the other one. And hopefully that will actually unlock some cool meaningful things, like maps or keys or something, just that you could only get by turning in that script, and it unlocks other paths to getting stuff.
I hope they just add new mission givers for it. Like right now, Wicklow being a temporary person who takes that stuff, like will take it, but for less cool shit than whatever the mercenary guild guy will be, or the council guy.
Which we also didn't really talk about much either, is also during this week they added in being able to scavenge for script in the Invictus halls. So they're also trying to get us through to.
I found one.
They're really pushing script in our face right now and trying to get us to use it. So which I imagine weird. That it's something they want to do going forward.
Yeah, which is weird because you only use it for favor, and yeah. So that
at least
that
once
hurt
right now.
Yeah, correct. Right now. Does that hurt Hathor or not? I wonder how that's going to play out going forward. We'll see.
Yeah, it's but I still, for now, it's encouraging, even though still things are still broken. Long-term persistence, really the only thing that's long-term persistent is broke ass shit. Hangers eating my ships, inventory, the elevators, killing me. I mean, this morning logged in, figured I'd get in a quick session before the show, and just sitting there at Seraphim, staring at the elevator button, pressing it 1,000 times and never going anywhere. But anyways, I really hate that my Band of Merchantmen, is not going to be in 1.0. My dream to open up a shop for rare merch, dreams are squashed, and stuff like that, really hurts. And I know it's going to come eventually, but it's like, geez Louise, guys. I mean, come on, 10 years of just dreaming about, this ship and all that, and what I'm going to do with it and the fun I'm going to have. And then you just say, doodly doo, that's not going to happen. So it just seems that CIG is just so incredibly tone deaf, until they're not, just for the dumbest shit. It's like, oh, we're going to change this now. It's like, really? That's the priority? To wrap it up, the TAC, OP, Suck It Connie, Corsair, pretty much every other ship in that class. I don't know how much more we can expect of that to happen, but it seems like this is just going to be the routine. It's just, we're going to keep putting out a ship that kills all the other cool ships because it's got everything, until the next one comes along.
It doesn't. It's just like, that's the kind of good thing about this, is it actually doesn't kill the Corsair, and it doesn't kill the Connie. Connie's got a ton of missiles and better weapons for just a pilot, and the Corsair has even more weapons than the Connie in that case. So luckily it doesn't, and this is, for me, I think it's a better designed ship than a lot of the ones that we've seen, simply because it is a multi-crew ship that a solo pilot can use, but it will be significantly less efficient if you didn't bring people into your ship. It's kind of going for what they're going for, never succeeding at it, because turrets are turrets and they're not that fun. But
well, no, absolutely, and I hope you're right about that, because it just seems like I don't know, it's got lots of guns, med bed, cargo, hangar bay,
medbed is a big
medical beds. So it's just like, why don't you just stick a mining head on the bottom of it and be done with it?
I mean, Connie has the same amount of cargo, so don't. It's not as bad as you think.
No, I hope so. I hope so. Yeah. But then I'll wrap it up here with, somebody's got to take a stand. I know everybody kind of keeps putting it in there saying, oh, Jared and blah, blah, blah. But, Jared, stop slacking. Okay. Backers have built you an amazing kick-ass studio. Now effing use it. Turn up the heat. You got, do an ATC type show. Do this, once a week. A weekly Q&A where you're just, reading off the Spectrum cards. Little gameplay featurettes. Just, watch every other YouTube produces, 20 minutes of content minimum every week. Why not you, Jared?
Yeah,
throw a 2-minute ship commercial at the end of every episode, to pay for it. Come on, advertise your product. You got Mike, Tomato, Burks, Board, Star Jump, producing a variety of rich content in bulk every week. Wake up, Jared. Low effort BS. It's time's up. Get to work. Okay, thank you.
All right, that might be a bit much, but I will say, at the start of the year, Mike and I did go if they want to do less video content, there are certainly a lot of ways that they could do easy weekly content that would not require a lot of effort. One example that I continue to bring up is CCP, the guys that make Eve, weekly or sometimes bi-weekly, will do literally, hey, here are some devs playing Eve. Go, right?
Whoa.
That would just play the game. And you could do that. And of course, the game would be scuffed. But if you did have a couple of devs doing Hathor or doing a CZ, that would be sick as hell. And stupid as well, because it would be extremely
hours yesterday, and it's Jared, you can't put cobble together.
Jared is not a content creator. Sorry, I need to stop you. Jared is not a content creator. It is a very different environment.
On his team go do that, and then he comments over a 20-minute clip of it. Say, hey, look at all the crazy shit we did this week on Stargazer, whatever. I don't know. I'm just saying that there's so much content out there for them just to go look at that's getting produced for free. And they just cobble together 15, 20 minutes a week and say, this week in Star Citizen, more crazy shit. But I don't know. I'm just thinking that somebody's got to stand up and say, enough, Jared and company. Let's put that studio to work. It's an amazing studio. Now, please use it. Thank you.
I mean, just to piggyback off that a tiny bit, put the salaries to work at a minimum. If backer money is being used to pay salaries, you just put the people to work. But I'm more with Croncy on this, is just do it in a simplistic, easy way. And, you don't have to use the developers or whatever. Yeah. I think that's what people are. What we probably do not know is what Jared is doing behind the scenes. So it's never going to be fair, this conversation. And, that's kind of the issue here, is you don't know what's happening. So is he being lazy? Is he being all these things that you're saying? We'll never know. So it's kind of hard to have.
And
also just
I don't think Jared's being lazy. It's just I have to say something. I'm just saying this in the most extreme tone, because this is what a lot of backers, at least in my org and stuff, this is what they're all saying. So I generally agree that Jared's
where the video, we're all feeling the same things.
Yeah, it's just, well, then come out here and say, guys, this is what I can do. So we're listening to you. We're going to try to, throw some more content up here every week. It's just, just something to work with, because it's just, it's a lot. All right. Yeah. Thank you.
Yep. All right, bro. We'll let you go.
To the call, man.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Before we go to the next caller as well, I do recognize Jared is a content creator and does make content for Baldur's Gate and stuff, specifically for CIG. That is not Jared's job.
No, he's a salesman, in a way.
Who isn't? Am I right?
Yeah, in a way, selling you on the expectations that they want you to have, or on a specific ship or something like that. In both ways, not in just the spend money way kind of thing. All right, let's go. I need a break after that one, because I very much enjoyed staying quiet after he told me to shut up. So I just stayed quiet and just let him go. And I'm sure he rubbed as many people the wrong way as I rub him the wrong way, because that's just how life works, right? So I enjoyed that one, because everybody has opinions. It's just how it is. Go ahead.
Sorry, chat. I just said I recognize he makes content.
Oh, ignore
not
it.
for Star Citizen. I just said that.
Ignore them. They're being stupid. They're just trolling you now.
Banned.
All right, Ringo, can you hear us? Next caller, Ringo Shonen.
How you doing, Ringo?
Howdy.
Hello.
Hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Yes.
I need to know on a scale of 1 to 10 how much you hate me before we start the call, though.
Well, I just waited in line for you for a while, so I don't think I hate you. I was willing to do that.
Cool. Because I don't know if I can take 2 in a row.
It depends why you waited in line. That's the problem.
I don't know if I can take
Fair
2 in a
enough.
row.
I don't hate Jared either, for the record.
Nice. All right, what do you want to talk about?
Right. On topic, AI flight blades.
Yeah.
Let's
what kind
go.
of opium were people smoking? Like, they just said at Star Citizen last year, like, hey, look, physicalized NPC crew and AI turret blades are post 1.0.
Yeah.
Now, can they do it sooner?
Yeah.
Maybe, but I'm not expecting it. I'm not hoping for
not
it. They
expecting
mentioned,
it
oh, here's a
in
blade.
4.2.
I'm not immediately thinking, yeah, I'm not thinking that's the thing. If it is, cool. They got it done faster. Great. But yeah, no. They just said they can't do it.
I think there's
Starlancer,
to be fair with people that are going like, oh, that means turret blades. It is just a big hopium thing, I think, of like, well, they mentioned blades, so the thing that I want 100% is around the corner, right? And I don't even think it's necessarily that it might be like too hard to program as much as the game just isn't ready for it, and the balancing just isn't ready for it.
My dog is on the floor dreaming, so I'm sorry. I'm filming this for our family because it's very cute. So you could kind of see her there. Deal with it. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I
go ahead,
derailed
Ringo.
everything. I'm sorry, but
No,
it's
dogs
very
are
cute.
important. So hey, the TAC. Yay! We have the first non-medical ship to not have tier 2 beds. Yay!
Oh, wait. What tier is the bed? That is a good question. It's a tier 2 bed,
It's
right?
2 tier 3 beds. On the it's a 2 tier 3s. I checked it on the store page while waiting.
Doesn't the 890 have T2s?
No, he's saying
The
they have
890
tier
gets 1
3s.
tier 2.
He's saying they have tier
Yeah.
3s, so it only heals the level 1 injuries.
Or level 3s.
Level 3 injuries.
Yeah, whatever the lowest
Count down
injury
to
is.
disparity.
Yeah, whatever the lowest injury.
Every medical
annoying.
ship in the game has the crappiest medical beds, whereas every not medical ship has the second best bed, like the 890 Jump,
Oh, I see
the
what you're
Carrick,
saying.
the
Wait, so
Polaris.
this has got the
Oh,
best
and
bed?
the Misfortune gets tier 2 when
Yeah.
that
So
comes out.
it's reversed. It's reversed of what you would assume it should be.
Yeah.
Where it's like, like a Cutlass
I think the
should have a Cutlass
Galaxy?
Red should have 2s.
Can they just
But
It
fix
did.
this?
Yeah.
It's a number. Can they just change it to be normal? Can they just be normal?
I presume so. You would assume that they're made on the same tech.
Yeah.
I believe every ship was a tier 2 when they first came out, because I remember buying the Cutlass Red.
Yes.
But then they're like, hey, look, we're going to drop the Cutlass Red to tier 3s, but you can still respawn on it. And then 3.16 came out, and then it's like, hey, look, the Cutlass Red can't respawn anymore. If you want to respawn, buy a Carrick or an 890 Jump.
Yeah.
And then Medical Ursa comes out, and hey, you can respawn on everything again, but we didn't increase the bed on the Cutlass Red back to 2s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like,
Yeah,
I mean,
that's a weird, silly thing.
maybe the tier 3 medical ship beds will have more of the material needed to medical, and the not medical ships will have, like, you heal one guy and you need to restock. I don't know how they're going to do this unless they say, hey, look, everyone who has a not medical ship, we're going to nerf your beds. Everyone who has a medical ship, we're going to buff your beds. Either both or one or the other.
I think it has to straight up come down to medical beds are a mobile respawn point, no matter which one they are. It just comes down to the way that they want to balance it. How many times can you respawn? How many different people can respawn in a row or whatever on this? What are the downsides of respawning in a tier 3 versus a tier 1 or whatever the order is? Again, I'm confused by it. But it just comes down to that is the game has gone to a place where they have to remove the friction. And yeah, they've done the range, but I don't think the range has ever functioned correctly since they've done that. I'm pretty sure you can respawn across the servers in your beds or whatever, but the ones that allow you to. But the that's just the way I look at it. Is the direction the game has gone is one of the ways to remove the friction. They do want to still add the friction of tier 0 item recovery going away and becoming tier 1s and 2s, but yeah, if that's the case, then at least let people respawn on their medical bed and then allow people to turn off that bed, and the layers continue on it. But it sounds stupid to not allow respawn on all of them.
I kind of don't like the respawn thing at all, actually, as a medical player.
Fair.
Like, if you play Plant Side too, right? Like, you know what a Sunderer or a Galaxy is.
I don't play it, so I don't know. Does Croncy know? You know?
No.
Oh, okay. Do you want to explain it?
It's just the magic. The Sunderer is a ground vehicle. Think of Medical Ursa, but it's an engineer vehicle that allows you to respawn troops at that as a rally point. And the Galaxy is a plane that lands, and you can respawn people at that one. Whether it's in the air or on the ground, they turns into a magical dropship. But that's all focused on engineer gameplay of maintaining the vehicle and keeping it able to keep people spawning. When I think of, well, of course, everyone thinks of Star Citizen in their own special way. But I thought like a medical ship would be more like, say, Arma 3, where you bring people to a thing so you can treat them and heal them, not just, another person gets off my bed and hops out the back of the door. I didn't heal anything. I didn't do any medical gameplay. I didn't play a mini game. I just slap them on the butt and watch them go.
Yeah. But
the
respawning a player is not that...
do besides just park the ship.
But you going and firing a gun at somebody who's downed on the ground is just about as interesting from my perspective. So
yeah, I think the problem with not if you did remove respawning is you then have to have a if I am fighting against Mike in Star Citizen specifically, I have spent 20 minutes setting up my character and going to a location. Mike has spent 20 minutes setting up his character, coming to this location. We have a fight. If first off, I need to be able to down Mike so that he's no longer a threat, and I will because he's bad at the game. So I down Mike. Now you have the whole option, right? Of are you still going to let me kill that player full kill? Where does the medical gameplay exist within that? Right now, it's respawn, and it's not a good solution for sure. It's not working great, but I think it would it would have to be a very complex system in order to be interesting enough.
Remove backspacing.
Yeah, true.
Or
it has to be interesting enough, but also
let me shotgun a Tier 0 at this real quick.
Go ahead.
Sure, let them respawn, but make that have a penalty. Like old World of Warcraft, if you died and respawned instead of running back to your body, you had summoning sickness or resurrection sickness, so you're less effective. Whereas if a player gets you back up, you don't get that. This way, the whole clown car climbing out in Medical Ursa are inferior to you because they have they're drugged up, they're woozy, they have terrible accuracy. Give them some multipliers, easy tweaks, and then versus the guy you ran over to and stabbed him with a pen, he's back up and full of energy.
I don't hate that.
I don't hate that either.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, the medical gun, how it replaces a pistol slot. I know this is last week, so I'll just cover it quickly. They didn't go far enough. Make that thing the giant two-handed version, make it take up a primary and give you back the pistol. Medics should be forfeiting offensive capability if they want to have the ability to heal everyone, including themselves.
Sure.
Give them the proton pack.
Because you still have med pens. I think that'd be fine.
Bro, I played with pistol yesterday, and I think people are overreacting to this incredibly. You can literally put that fucking med gun in your backpack, hit I, double click it, and it's on your body very quickly. I think there's a pretty great overreaction to the
Ringo's saying it should go further. That it should be more aggressive.
Okay.
You should be punished more for bringing meds. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Ringo. I misunderstood.
No, dedicated backpack that comes with the gun or the medical gun, like the TF2 medic or a Ghostbusters proton pack.
Sure.
You are dedicating yourself to a small backpack that's designed to mostly carry medical supplies, and you can bring other stuff. But if you can heal yourself and shoot at people with full-size guns, then if you've ever played a Battlefield game, the medic class is always the best because you can heal and kill. That's bad.
Yeah,
not just Battlefield, like almost the vast majority of the games have like a dedicated healer like role, right?
But they
Including
need to nerf the
from
healer
shooters to
to
everything.
not be the shooty guy. Like they can shoot, but they
Yeah,
shouldn't be able to
yeah.
shoot as much or as hard as everyone else.
Yeah.
Like
I'd be
in
down
your
for that.
example, you just downed Mike, right? He's bad. No offense,
Can
Mike.
we
I
stop
don't
with
actually know how
this?
good you are. Like
I'm only
one,
saying it because
I'd
Mike
say,
rolls me every time.
oh, so you're bad. Okay.
Yeah.
So you down
He's
him.
just
I say,
coping.
okay, you can't kill Mike. He's incapacitated. He has the option to backspace, but
Yep.
in exchange for you not being able to kill him, it should take me a little bit longer to get him back up. So that one, I'm a target for you, and two, if it takes long enough, you have enough time to grab whatever you need and get out before Mike can get back up and get revenge.
Yeah, mini game
Yep.
it instead of just click a button on a pistol kind of thing, right? Or right click with the med pen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Like give it a little mini game like the mining thing. Make it so I have to balance the medication while I'm like increasing the dosage, lower the dose. Just copy paste until you come with something else.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
I'll definitely say your idea for like a summoning sickness, like a res sickness.
We already
would
have it,
solve
too.
a lot of.
You have all
Not
the
really.
solution. No. Like it would fit the
mean, like,
narrative of
mechanics?
correct. Yeah, it would fit the narrative
Right,
of
right.
this year where it would just set your blood drug level above a percentage so you felt it, but then you also have the counter of the I forgot the name, the gray pen. I forgot the name of the actual medication to lower that, and you have to
Detox
do
water,
that.
yep.
Yeah, you have to do all of that if you want to use the med bed, but if you use a player, that's negated, right? I love that.
Well, I would
idea.
also careful because the med.
I would also just love to see someone very drunk walking in with a pistol, still trying
Exactly.
anyway to get you.
Resurgera, yeah, that's the one I'm looking for.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna get him
Resurgera.
this time.
Yeah. So I like that
But
idea a
do you
lot.
remember the med bed purges your drug level? If you get off and hop back on, it'll remove your drug level.
Yes, but
But
like
that is
get-
more
it does,
time
but it
depending
doesn't.
on the bed.
remove
Yeah.
that is what I'm saying. It you
Yeah.
know, have that go away.
Also,
Sorry.
hey,
Make it work.
maybe we're looking at making it soft class armor soon. How about you can't interact with the med bed unless you're wearing medical armor? Otherwise, you actually require a medic person to stand at the computer. You know, that computer that's always next to it that no one
It's
ever
too
uses.
restrictive.
Maybe make that required.
I don't know. I think that's too
Yeah,
restrictive,
maybe it is.
but yeah. Because it's
Again,
I like your
you're
other
zero
ideas.
shotgunning ideas.
it's too Battlefield coded. Like you've mentioned Battlefield a bunch of times. Like choosing a specific class is just not going to happen in this game. So I would probably remove that from your expectations. But
Fair
just
enough.
bring it more towards like like I can choose to be the medic with a downside of choosing to put a medical gun on my thing. Like the whole thing with, all right, well, I can't carry a med gun and a pistol at the same time. That's the direction they're going.
Yeah.
And not the other way around. So that's, yeah. I don't know. I don't know for sure, but that's the direction they're going in at this second in time.
Yep.
So yeah.
Which to finish my thoughts on it very quickly, my one complaint about that change is they made it the pistol item. I'm fine with that. But when you search for it in your inventory, I don't care. It should still be a utility item. My brain does not put two and two together. I just want to search through utility to get my meds.
It could be right in front of you and you don't see it because you're not looking for it.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's funny.
Just leave it as a utility classification item for inventory. That's all I care.
It's true.
That
It's
makes
true.
sense.
I agree. Anything else you want to talk about?
No, I think I've already talked enough. I'll give someone else a chance.
All right, perfect.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for calling in.
All right, bye,
All
Ringo.
right, have fun, everyone.
Be good. Be good.
Catch Ringo.
All right, our next caller is Expendability. Expendability. Can you hear us?
How you doing?
I thought I
Not
heard
bad.
him. Oh yeah, there you
Yep,
are.
I'm here. I'm here.
How's it
Howdy,
going?
howdy.
Pretty good. Sorry, I was muting you.
All good.
All good.
Yeah. So, real quick, I want to touch on the medical thing. I think, I think that when they add the resource, or that was my understanding is the plan was to add the resource to the beds. It'll help with that
Yeah.
a lot, where someone can't just continually respawn because the magic green goo's gone. So
Yeah,
that's
they
all I
mentioned
have
that
on that.
it's supposed to be part of resource network, right? Like it's supposed to be part of you doing your engineering and making sure you've got the correct resources in whatever slot. But once again, like that whole system is a thing that we just haven't heard about for a real long time now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's. I mean, you guys were talking about it for a bit there, so that was the only
Yeah.
thought I had on it. Is my hope is they add that, and we end up with, yeah, you can respawn, you can have a lot of fun. I don't really like the debuff thing, only because that's the whole point of it, is that you're back to playing. I don't want to sit around for 15 minutes waiting to play.
I would say it's a small debuff to start, but it stacks if you keep using it. Right?
It's like
Yeah, it's probably
Yeah,
a better way to go about it. But yeah.
Kind of hitting the topics, the Starlancer TAC. I don't see it as an OP ship. I see it as like your solo player RP small group ship, which I think is it's kind of neat. I mean, I have a Connie right now, and I use it mostly as a support ship, anyways. So I could see myself having a TAC just so that, hey, you know, I'm going to bring a small ground vehicle. There's a place for us to respawn if we want. Most of the turrets don't have firing arcs where you can put them forward, so it's not going to be this super. I don't see it being this big battleship that's going to be in a big fleet. It's more of your group ship that's going to be out there for having fun.
Yeah.
The blades. The blades. My hope. You guys were talking about adding stats to the ships. My hope is, you also brought up bounties coming back. As someone who may or may not have bounties every once in a while, the most annoying thing is the god marker. Because if I
yeah.
Yeah,
Go ahead. I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Just to finish the thought on the god marker, if I enjoy the ground gameplay, I enjoyed, you know, ducking and diving between rocks, firing railguns at people, just being a sneaky, you know, bounty. It sucks that literally you can just nose down the ship and just come right up to me 1 meter, and I still have a marker on me, and there's no way I can hide, nowhere I can go. With the blades, I hope what they do is they make, if you want that marker, then you have to install a blade on your ship to have that marker or a way to scan for the bounty players.
Yeah, and hopefully it has a significant downside to it, because my expectations were, all right, bounty hunting went away. There was this whole plan for bounty hunting V2. Maybe they were going to bring some of that on with some of these new missions. And no, same old kind of shitty design mission that people had a lot of problems with, honestly. And I, as happy as I am to see them come back, I am equally as disappointed to see them come back in the same state that they were in, which is disappointed. You know?
Yeah, it sounds like likely the reason for that, because I'm sure they do want to change bounties quite heavily still.
Sure.
At least on Twitter from Elliot, it sounded like it was literally just for this whole time a huge server meshing issue. And so I imagine they just didn't spend time trying to change it because they were just trying to get it in the first place, right?
Yeah.
That is still, to your point, disappointing, because
Yeah.
it's like, well, if it wasn't in there at all, maybe just redo it.
Yeah,
Like, you're going to be changing it a bunch anyway.
Yeah.
So,
and to be fair to them, when they talked about the mission refactor, it was, we are bringing up most of our previous missions to the standard that they were before, just working with server meshing. So like they didn't necessarily set an expectation in my mind that it would be better. I was just hoping it was. That's all. And I'm a little bummed out that it wasn't. Yeah.
Yeah, and I hope they expand. My hope would be they expand on that, where, like you said, there's some extreme downsides to it. Maybe there's a better buff you can put in there if you know, whatever it is, but it could expand to the scanning gameplay. You want to have those long distance scanners? Fine, there's a scanning blade that gives you like 40% more range or something, but that has
last known location. Like,
and it takes, you know, 4 power pips to power the thing, so you're low on shields or you're low on weapons, unless you turn it off, or disable it or whatever. I don't know, that's a bunch of theory crafting, but that's what I had on the blades. The Hathor event has been a complete mess, as far as it working, but it also has brought a lot of cool moments. You know, we've had massive battles, we've had ground content, we've had, you know, just like the other guy was saying, just random events happen.
Yep.
I just really wish they could get it with. I hope they keep pushing this kind of content where it's more of a sandbox, like you go there and anything could happen, but it needs to work too. We spend I mean, we have 30 people jumping or jumping servers over and over and over, just finding a ground site that's bugged open, I guess is the best way to put it. And so I hope that they get this fixed up, because it'd be cool to have more stuff like that.
Yeah.
I
for
wonder
sure.
if like if like all these Hathor stations are essentially what they wanted distribution centers to be. This location that people come in for multiple missions, multiple reasons, and then there is a dynamic gameplay between all of them because of that. Because that is what's happening. Like you've also mentioned it today that that's happening, right? So yeah, curious.
Yeah. But that's about all I got. That's that was my
Okay.
thoughts on what's been happening. You know, when I read the Blades, I didn't think anything more of it either. I was kind of on the same page as you, where it's like I've seen it. I saw it there on the floor before. I thought it was just another, you know, like a little tidbit. Then when people were talking
Yeah.
about AI gunners and stuff, I was just,
Where
there's
did
no
that
way.
come from?
There's
Yeah.
there's no way. I mean, the AI NPC gunners still can't turn on half the time. So
No, see, all of you guys are going about it the wrong way. They've mentioned blades. The Asperia blade is getting changed, guys. It's going to be up for sale again. Let's go.
No, we're gonna have katanas. There was a katana at Wicklow. I mean, like how
True.
how like crazy do we want to take this, right? Like, there's
You
many
said
ways we can go.
physicalized blades. That's
What
yeah,
else are
where's
you
my
thinking?
crossbow?
Exactly. So yeah, but all right, Expendability. Thank you for calling in, man. I appreciate it.
yeah,
And
we appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
yeah, of course. Also,
Yeah,
thank you
man.
for keeping it short, because
Yeah.
we have had some.
And on
shit-
topic.
Yeah, and on topic. Exactly. We've had
Let's
some very off topic ones today. All right, our next caller is Ethos. Yeah, I think I got that right. Ethos.
Sounds right.
Hello, hello. Can
Hey.
you hear us?
Yeah. Hey, what's up? What's up?
What's going on?
Howdy.
Not much. Very excited to be on the show. This will be the second time I'm calling in.
Yeah.
Always
Welcome
love
back.
watching your content.
Welcome back.
Um,
I do remember
you.
trying to say your name last time as well.
well, hey, that's my calling card. So yeah, I mean, I think I want to. I'm sort of learning how to do combat in PvP, so I kind of want to
Okay.
touch on flight blades as a topic of conversation here, which
Let's
is.
go.
You know, and so I guess what I think of first when I hear this, obviously the AI blades aside, because that's just whatever. I don't know who was thinking that, but they're on something that I want to be on too. The idea, so it reminded me of something that Yogi had said earlier, which was in line with eventually they're going to be removing nav mode and this kind of thing. So I'm thinking this plays into that whole picture, right? There's the engineering. We're also seeing this with different flight characteristics, as you have suggested previously. But it doesn't. I'm wondering how this fits into the overall Star Citizen picture, because
what is the overall picture? That's the hardest part,
That's a
right?
good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, so crafting, right, comes in with the tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. So, okay, flight blades changes your flight characteristics. So what? There's going to be like, not only are you within your tier, adjusting stats for all these different components, but in the second tier, you're adjusting your stats in a whole other way. Like, it seems like don't you think that's like a lot? Like that's a lot to balance.
Yeah, it's ridiculous,
yeah.
and it's not going to work. And they're gonna have to dial back on it, just like every other grand plan that they've had up to this point. The only things that they have not dialed back on is procedural planets and the size of the systems, I think. And not necessarily true. Pyro's smaller than I think it was initially planned for. So I think it was planned to be like massive. Like original scope, original. I think it was super huge, but I could be wrong.
Right.
But yeah, like other than that, they haven't dialed back on too many things, or they have dialed back on most things because they're just not possible.
Yeah. I mean,
right.
It also feels like.
all that.
Yeah, sorry about that. But yeah, no, you're right. Like it does feel like they've had to be like, okay, let's have a realistic picture of this. So I think that would be let's do one or the other, right? You've got your tiers of ships or tiers of components. So let's just take the middleman out, right? So if you're working flight blades, okay, you can have a tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 flight blade, and then perhaps permutations to the side there as they go up. So you might have a ship that doesn't have, that has all tier 3 components or only half tier 3 components, right? I think that makes the picture a little easier to manage, I would say. And then I think that pushes more crafting gameplay, right? Like, or all these kinds of interactions that we want to see between whatever PvP players and PvE players. In that respect, and then people getting more choice, like instead of like this ship is just better, if you jump up to tier 2 your ship is just better. Having like some play with it's, do I really need this? I don't really use this so much, but I do need this a lot, right? And so where am I going to put my money down? I think adds a lot of interest.
Yeah, I would add more, but I think you're pretty good on it. I don't know. I've been struggling lately with SE in general.
Yeah.
In terms of like wanting to even add more to conversations, just because it's just like I just want to see what they do. We're in such a weird time where it's like, what are they gonna add? And that's what I'm more worried about. And I know that we can't get that yet. So that's where so I'm struggling with it. Do you have anything, Croncy?
Not particularly. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm sorry, Ethos. I'm sorry.
No, yeah, no, it's all good. I mean, I think you're right. I always get into that theory crafting world, but I mean, what's the point? Like crafting is so far away. Base building, I mean, all these are such distant thoughts at this
and these
point.
are things that I hold near and dear too. And even then, I'm just like, maybe it's like a defense mechanism now. Like for me, the only thing that I see the blades going with crafting is, I think you're right. Like if they, because what we've heard about it is, okay, well, I can like add stats to it or something like that based on what stuff I use or whatever. I just hope it's like tier 1 is 1 stat, tier 2 raises that stat a little bit, tier 3 raises that stat a little bit more, and that's it. And then there's just like that cap, and that makes their life a little bit easier. But that's the only thing. Like I remember while you were talking, I was like, oh, I want to make that point, but I'll wait for him, and then I forgot to make it. So there's that. But outside of that, I don't see. I'm afraid of them doing any more than that because it'll just get so messy.
Yeah, I mean, it's already the balance is such. I mean, as a PvP player and put my hours into Arena Commander, the balance is a absolute travesty. I mean, even as is, like they're with the ships they have already, and what we're talking about, like hundreds of ships. I mean, it's kind of crazy, and I don't know how they're gonna bring this in line, and the dev power is not there. It's not focused on that right now. So I don't know if they should add more complexity to it, but I mean, crafting's got to have a place, right? I mean, the other thing I wanted the scanning. So you were talking about how you want to be able to kind of scan. I think that's great for like a big multi-cruise ship, where you have this like there's that more of that chess match where it's like he makes this move, I make this move, they make this move, I make that move. But I think for me, as like if I'm just dogfighting someone, there's no time to think about that, right? I'm just going to shoot this guy, right? Like I'm not, any information I gather is going to be in that, as you were talking about, like trying to figure out where he's at, like, oh, he's pulling these G's this way. Oh, that probably means that he's using so and so and so and so.
He's using NDBs. Well, if he's using NDBs, he would be using the, I don't know, laser buff flight blade. Yeah, so that kind of thing.
Yeah, or like better side maneuvering to get closer to me, and these kinds of concepts. I mean, that's sort of where I see that kind of thing being, and I think it'd be great. I mean, anything that adds, I really think there should be that separation of like, the fighter perspective is, oh my god, everything's dying, my friend just died next to me, it's crazy, versus the ship perspective, which is like opera music playing in the background, at parade rest, pushing little holograms on a board. Like I think that adds so much to just the overall world that I'd like to. I think that's a great idea at least.
100%.
Then I think one other thing, and I'll let you guys go, but the Starlancer TAC,
Okay.
very excited about. I think it's going to be an awesome ship for what I do, and I feel like there's a lot of players like me who have small orgs or play with a short group of friends, and seems like the perfect ship for what we're going to get out of that. Am I a little miffed that things like the Connie we're probably not going to bring those as much? I mean, sure, but I'm glad they're kind of figuring out how to build these ships out better, right? It's that active process of
Exactly.
learning from their previous mistakes.
Yep. And then whenever one day, they're going to go back and there'll be a med bed on the Connie, I'm sure. Right? When as players play and they understand how we play and they understand what our expectations are, what we enjoy, they will adjust the current ones. It's just we're in this stage of the game, and I'm not making excuses for them because I hate that this is a thing, but we're in the stage of the game where they need you to buy spaceships, I believe. Like, I don't think they have enough money to finish Squadron and this, so they have to keep funding, and they got to keep going, and the only way they've decided to do that is by selling you spaceships. And, eventually the ship that you like will probably fit the role that it's meant to play. Or whatever, right? But just right now, it's one of these. You gotta wait. You gotta wait. For it's just new ship, good new ship, better. Like, and it's gonna be that way for a while, I think.
The best news you could have, Ethos, is that there's a new Connie variant coming soon or something.
Yeah, because then they might update the other ones, right?
Exactly,
right.
And again, that's a good point, Croncy, because given where they're at, they're not making new stuff. They're making new variants of old stuff. So like the Saber has a lot. Well, I guess not necessarily the Saber because it's the opposite of the diamond shaped Saber style. But yeah. So it's like more of that probably is what's going to happen. But yeah, what else do you want to talk about, Ethos?
What you're telling me is we're going to get Mark IIs of everything, right? That's just, it's going to be everyone gets a new version of their ship.
Well, technically, I believe lore-wise, the Connies are the Mark V, so we'll get the Mark VI.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man, this one with an interior that makes sense,
Hopefully. I love the Connie. I hate the interior. It's so sad.
Oh, I know. It's they were just learning, all right. They're little babies, just throwing stuff at the wall, hoping they can make it work, and they've gotten a lot better now,
for sure.
Yeah, I mean, let's see. So obviously, Aligner Mine has had a lot of troubles for sure. This has been certainly something that has been trouble that I've run into. I mean, almost every server at this point, I don't even try. Right? It's probably broken, so I'm not even going over. But I have had a lot of good moments there, and I know the org wants to get there. So I am hoping that we see some repairs and get that up to where it needs to be.
Still in the patch notes on 4.1.1, still trying to fix it, and that's a good thing. When was the last time you saw contested zones? Anything written in a patch note? So if they're still working on it, then that's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And then I guess finally, I wanted to just touch on Invictus and just do you think they're gonna do? Like, how is this year going to go? How are we feeling? Like, just a vibes check, Because, I mean, this is obviously one of their biggest periods for the year. Do you feel like the hype is where it's usually at, or does it feel like there's sort of like a holding pattern here?
I'm in holding.
Yeah.
But I'm just one person.
This time last year, we were waiting for, like, one of the biggest patches of all time, which was, like, the patch that, was bringing all the squadron mechanics over and stuff, right? So there was huge. Well, actually, it had just been released, I guess. So there was like huge hype for that. That fell a little bit flat, especially after like them pushing the cargo and stuff. So I think just on the fact that like they're not doing a feature year, the hype is less. Apparently, the money is more
great.
Already this year.
So
they're smashing through that. What I would like to know, and if anyone has the data, put it in chat. How has player acquisition been so far this year, comparatively?
Yeah, that was the thing Morph pointed out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, player
But then
acquisition is
again,
always your biggest thing. So
but Morph pointed out that data like next year is going to be shit because there's less new people to buy stuff, and then you know that didn't happen.
Yeah.
That's not true. So
Exactly.
it's we're
It's
we're
a-
not
I-
statisticians, so
yeah. We're, oh,
That's
sorry.
why
Go on, Croncy.
that's why I stay away from
I
the
was just
funding
gonna
stuff.
I am hyped for this Invictus just because they're doing something extra with it. Invictus previous years has always just been like a
Parade, right?
it's felt like a small IAE that's like it's just the convention hall, that's it. Not much to check out. But now that they're like tying it into the story and they're adding in missions and stuff that are in relation to it, I'm a bit more excited for it. So yeah, but that's
I
a
mean,
personal
I think-
thing.
I got my mining update stuff.
Yeah.
I am pumped.
True.
I am
True.
pumped.
I mean, I think
So-
this does stay. I hope it stands to be a good one for
Mhm.
all new players coming in, because there's for the obviously the free flight, there seems to be a lot of very interesting missions and new stuff to do, and it feels like that it could be a cool time for someone to check out the game, if they can make it
Yep.
work, of course.
And the question is, will it be the most stable Invictus we've ever had? Probably not, because it's going to be 600 players and we've never had that before. But that'll be a big thing too.
Well, it might be stable, but your
oh,
frame rate
yeah.
might be low.
Yeah, true. But of the two, I would have to go back and check, but I'm fairly sure of the two of Invictus and IE, Invictus tends to be the one that absolutely dumpster fires every year, and like gives the worst experiences.
Big
for
cap
whatever
ships.
reason.
That's probably why.
Yeah, it's probably the Bengal flying around all the time, right?
Yeah,
So,
that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's basically just
yeah,
a
hopefully
lag
that's the case.
generator that
Yeah,
flies around
yeah.
between all the systems.
Yeah.
But Ethos, I kind of have a hard stop, and we have one
Okay.
more caller. My hard stop is in about 10 minutes. So I
Mhm.
want to give that time to that caller. It's not that I didn't enjoy this. I really did. So I just want
Yeah,
to
that's a
say
good call.
thank you for the call, and we appreciate you, man. But I'm going to let you go just so
Yeah,
we can
thank you
get
so much, mate.
to teach. Especially because
Absolutely.
I didn't know what order you guys were in, so I pulled you in the order that I saw you, and that's not necessarily the order that you came in. So I want to make
Yeah,
sure
yeah.
we get to him and give him his time. All right?
Awesome. Well, pleasure as always, guys.
Yes,
Thank you
of
for having
course.
a conversation.
Yeah, man. Hopefully we
Have a
have a
good one, man.
third call soon. Catch you, dude.
Peace.
Bye now. All right, we're gonna bring in Call Me Teach to finish it up. Teach, can you hear us, buddy?
How are we doing,
I
Teach?
can.
Great.
Lovely.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Sure can.
Okay, cool. Oh man, has it been a year? It's
So
Actually,
far-
it's been 5 months.
Yeah.
well, I mean, roller coaster regardless.
Yep.
Been ups and downs, all kinds of crazy stuff. Everybody in YouTube, Discord, or Twitch, make sure to go to the Discord. Grab your Invictus Launch Week bingo cards. Saw that.
Yeah.
Make sure
I
that you
did
grab
too.
that out of the media channel. That was the the thing that caught me off guard this morning. But yeah.
Yep.
So I guess the first thing for me is the blades. I when I first heard it, I thought of car tuning. That's literally all I thought of. Is like when you go to the shop and you have them plug in the computer and they're
Mhm.
trying to do a diagnosis or something, or they're trying to change your tuning for the fire timings on your pistons and stuff in the motor. Like that's all that
Yeah.
really feels like to me.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I
I did-
don't see anything else major.
I've been very critical about like, hey, if you have components that we can adjust or change, those changes need to feel meaningful. And so I don't want to sit here and go, oh, just brush it off and be like, this thing is small. Like it shouldn't feel small when it comes in though. Like it should have an impact.
Right. Yeah.
yeah.
It should be
like, again,
meaningful.
we bring Eve up a lot, and what Eve does is like your level your level of a certain ship type, let's say, will, because it has skills, obviously, will raise your your engines by 5%, but that's each level by 5%. So it will eventually be a very impactful thing, and so
Yeah, I
that-
just feel like we're not really going to see any of those major changes until we start getting the crafting stuff and we're able to make different components with different materials and stuff like that, so we can give
Yeah.
the blades
Exactly.
something to adjust.
exactly.
Which also think about like, let's say that a blade can adjust your top speed in a straight line. Well, if that only does it a few percent. Maybe your crafting does that a few extra percent. Maybe when you craft the ship, it does that extra few percent. Maybe if you go real ham on all of your modules, not modules, components in crafting, and you put them to tier 3 with the exact right materials, yeah, you've made a really big impact now. You've got like plus 200% speed.
Yeah, and then
but
that
it's
blade just
required
becomes
all
more
of
of a
those parts.
modifier.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I saw when
But
I
again,
thought
the
of
ex-
that initially too.
The examples they gave are not just about our engines. It was a whole slew of things. So yeah,
Yeah.
that was something that kind of took me off guard there. I wasn't expecting it to be like that
Yeah.
necessarily.
I think when they mentioned all the other things that will be available, I think they kind of chalked that all up to the same blade, which I don't think will
Yeah.
necessarily be the case. I think it'll probably be like, okay, you get a flight blade, and that'll adjust, your thrusters, your maneuverability, stuff like that, and then you have like
I
a
see what you're saying.
shield
Okay.
blade that will
yeah.
do a boost of percentage to your shields or a boost of percentage to the recharge rate or something like that.
But they're only mentioning the flight blade because
Yeah,
that
and
might
then
be
they're-
the
then they're
one
taking-
type. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only one that they have going right now that they're working on. But
Which
the
would be like
idea,
tier 0 blades or tier 1 blade,
yeah.
just
Yeah,
blades,
yeah.
but we're only giving you the one so you kind of get what I see that
Yeah.
being a thing. And that doesn't take all the cope away from the copiumatics of, well, AI blades are still a thing,
Dude.
they're still possible. It could happen. So
No, my hopium dealer's been giving me shit for the ironclad. That's what I was huffing over. And god damn it, it pisses me off because
I
they forgot about doing Drake Defense Con, and they
I don't think they
keep
forgot.
mentioning it. People keep mentioning it, and I think they're leaking. Like, I got the vibe that they were, because people do this stupid thing because they know it pisses me off, is that I hate leaks, right? So these guys are all on the Discords and this and that and obsessed with like what ship is coming next, and just the way they've been talking, I feel like they're putting these little things out there. They keep mentioning it. So I feel like they know something I don't. That's what I keep like I don't actually know anything, but I feel like they know something I don't because they do that shit to me all the time. So
it makes me hope that they're doing another like little red herring thing, and they're like, oh yeah, oh oops, sorry, didn't mean to put Drake on the Invictus thing. They're supposed to be a defense con, and then you got both Ironclad and the Assault sitting in the hangar, and you're like,
yeah,
maybe.
Ironclad out of nowhere. I think it's I don't once again I don't think they forgot it necessarily. I think it's more likely that they've realized that it's kind of, while it's an interesting lore thing of like, oh, they've like revenge made their own convention because they're not
Well, it's
invited
got
to
to be
the Cool
labor
Kids
intensive
Club.
for the servers and all that.
Exactly, and intensive for them as well to have to make 2 conventions for this one event each at the start of the year. That like is just probably not really necessary. That being said, I would love it to be a red herring and for them to also just like randomly be like, "Hey, we allowed Drake into this convention once, and they brought the Frontier Fighters with them." Like, yeah, there could be some cool stuff there, but I think it's more likely that it's just yeah, exactly. But I think it's more likely that it's just we need to stop doing this. It's too much.
Yeah.
I think I'm starting to lose my tolerance to the opium.
Yeah.
Couple
minutes
I
left.
guess.
So what's the next thing you want to talk about? But I have to leave it there. Teach. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good. Last thing. The sales. It blows my mind that we think that there's so much going wrong with the game right now, but then there's also so much obviously going right based on sales.
Yeah,
so like
but
we're trying to figure out if there's a bunch of new people coming in, if it's just a bunch of veterans who are like, hey, I've been looking at this upgrade for a while, and they did a discount, and we can't tell
tier
what the
0
difference is in
item recovery. Like, people might be buying, I know they're like smaller transactions, but people might be buying armor and weapons and stuff. There's more things to buy. I don't.
Yeah, that's another thing too.
Yeah, I don't know what to think about it. But the only thing I'll say is, the more they monetize, the worse the game is going to be. That's just how it is, like the less of a game it's going to be, and I want it to be more of a game, so I don't like it. And so it's not a success to me. A success would be them developing the game and making it. Period.
Right, and getting interest just based on the fact that it works.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Be nice, wouldn't it? But yeah, that's it for me, gentlemen. It's been good.
All right, Teach.
Awesome.
We appreciate you, man.
Cool. Appreciate it as always.
Yes.
Yep.
And I'll try to remember to bring you in a little earlier next time because I
you're
cut you
good.
short.
Safe travels in the black, everybody.
All right, bye, Teach.
Catch you, mate.
Bye now. All right, Croncy, another one in the books. How do you feel? As tired
Regretting
as
calling. No, I'm not tired. I'm now just regretting calling Jared not a content creator when he makes more YouTube content than I do a week.
Yeah,
So...
it is what it is. He's an employee, is what you were trying to say. It's not like that, but people will take it whatever way they want. So enjoy the YouTube comments. You'll know how it feels when I say something stupid like that, or not stupid, but you know what I mean. I think what you said was totally true. Is he's literally being paid and being told to some extent what to do, right? Where when you're a content creator, you got to figure it all out yourself. And I think that's the point the guy was trying to make is we're all figuring out how to survive with no content. He should be able to as well. And again, you know, you're being paid to make videos. I'm kind of in agreement with that. Just how they got to do it. Maybe it'll take a little while for them to figure out how they want to do it. And I hope they do.
But if you guys want to complain about our content, make sure to do it in the comments below. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to like the video if you're watching it as well. And of course, make sure to follow both SaltEMike and myself here over on Twitch. We stream it both on Twitch and on YouTube every Sunday. It's always a good time. Make sure to call in as well.
Yeah. And people kept poking about like podcast platforms. It's probably time that we start doing that. Right. I think initially we wanted to grow the YouTube channel as big as we can. And I think we did up to this point. I don't think there's going to be much growth with Star Citizen content for the next little while as far as like, you know, significant growth. So maybe reaching out into those others might make sense. But it's a little extra work. So we'll figure it out. And hopefully soon.
Keep your ears out.
Yeah. But don't forget, like many of the callers did not today, to answer the call.
to answer the call.
Yeah. And by now, worst outro we've ever done.
Wow.
Yes.
Terrible.
Sorry about that.